Hello and welcome to Martin Lucas Investors channel. My name is Sensei Crypto and we're going to be covering Tesla earnings. Welcome in everyone. It's lovely to have everyone here. Thank you for tuning in. We have about an hour, just under an hour to go before the earnings call starts. So we can be covering your requests and the charts for Tesla. So welcome in everyone. Let's make sure everything's running smoothly. We are live. We do have everyone in. Brilliant. Well, welcome in everyone. Do let me know your requests. We're going to start off by looking at Tesla chart. Comment in the comment section. Let me know you are watching with me or if you're going to be watching both. There's the second channel, Enphase Energy on the second channel as well, where you can see over here. So welcome in everyone. Let me say a hello there as well. Let's make sure we're there as well. And let's tune into Martyn for a second and make sure we can hear him.
Call wait time was 2.5 minutes in Q2 compared to 1.9 minutes in Q1. We have several AI and machine learning initiatives to drive automation and further reduce wait time.
That is Martyn's channel. That is the second channel running live there. And let's see what your comments are before we start looking at the chart. Here we go. There's Martyn, he's waving. Hello to you, Martyn. Brilliant. Let's have a look at your comments. Let's see if he picks us up. You can see us. Hi, Martyn. So Martyn is covering Enphase Energy on the second channel. I think their earnings has already started. Tesla earnings is a little bit quiet. Let's turn that up. Yes, so Enphase Energy will be on the extra channel. I think we've muted them.
With power.
Okay, so let's see who's here today. Just getting into the show, we're live a little bit early for you guys. We'll be Tesla earning missed by 16%, says Martini Racer. We'll be covering that in just a second. Yes, Tesla is down about 3% in the after hours. Martyn did predict that. Tesla is losing $1 a minute into after hours trading, says DJ Haynes. William is here. Hi folks, anyone here listen to Stephen, Mark, Ryan talk about Tesla? I have not. It is accurate to say that the car profit was off, but Megapack sales were great. Let's have a look at that shortly. Thank you, Sensei, from a fellow Brit in Florida for covering Tesla tonight. No worries at all, Mark Saxby. Welcome in, and congratulations to your 6-month badge. Sales were great. Kilber Marquez late. No, the Tesla earnings. Well, yes, I was actually a couple minutes late for the show, but the Tesla earnings is in about an hour. Tesla. Let's get to the rest of the comments. Watching on both channels, says David. Well, amazing, David. Thank you for doing that. Let's see how it goes today. You're a little bit quiet, Sensei Marc Saxby. Is that all okay now? I tried to turn my volume up a little bit. Henrik is here. Hi all. Better now, thanks. Thank you, Marc Saxby. Yes, I see your comment now. Elon is going to have a stroke. I think he'll be okay, but let's see how the charts are looking. So the chart for Tesla in the after hours, we are down 2.5%. We have dropped on earnings news. We'll have a look at the article in a second. Let's zoom out on the daily chart and give our analysis on Tesla. So if you look back all the way from the highs of 2021, Tesla has been in a downtrend while the rest of the markets as a whole have been in an uptrend. Tesla has been in quite a bad downtrend. That is signified by all these lower highs. You can see the highs there, then the highs every single time have been lower. We did have the capitulation of 2022 where we came all the way down to $100, which we did predict. And then we did push up. Unfortunately, the highs were not higher than before that drop, so they do still technically count as lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And then we have had this nice push up recently. We did make lows a little bit higher from our previous lows at $140. And we have been moving up since. If you have just tuned in, please do hit the like button. If you're watching later on, please do also hit the like button. We do have a tradition. I do a Sunday show every Sunday where we do look at all our charts, and we do always end up with more likes than viewers. So far we have not done that. We've got 25 people watching and only, let's see how many likes, 7 likes. That is terrible performance from the Lucasades. We can do better than that. So if you can hit the like button, that will be great. So yeah, we've been in this sort of short-term downtrend as well since, and now finally we've made our lows and we're trying to push up. Have we made higher lows? From these lows, yes, we have, but in more of a midterm, we have not. It's sort of the same. We've made highs the same as December 27th, 2023, the end of December, the end of the year last year, where we went to $266. So right now in the middle of no man's land, do not be surprised if we come back to $208. And if some good news comes out during this earnings, what we want to see is pushing above $266, and that could change the whole trend, this whole downwards trend, if we move above $266. That's what we want to see. We want to see, if you're bullish on Tesla, you want to see the trend changing, and to signify the trends changing, we need higher lows, which we have. We've got higher lows. We just need to see some more long-term higher highs. And just to explain that once again, you zoom out a lot, you can see the trends to the downside. You look at them sort of the on a smaller timescale since 2023, we've been in a downtrend, but now we are trying to change the trend to an uptrend, and an uptrend is what you want to see if over the sort of midterm, long term, you want to see Tesla go back towards all-time highs and start increasing in price like a lot of other tech companies such as Apple, Microsoft, Google. You want to start seeing us push above $266. Let's now move down to the smaller time frame, the 4-hour, and you can see that the most recent 4-hour candle is to the downside. We can go down to the 15-minute time frame, and you can see we did have a big drop in the after hours. We have had a bit of a pushback, and now it look like we're going back down. So we have got the earnings right here. We're waiting for the specific link. But that is going to be in about just about 49 minutes. We'll be able to hopefully see 49 minutes? Yes, 49 minutes. We'll hopefully be able to see the earnings, and we will be tuning into that. So please let me know your thoughts on Tesla in the comments. Are you bullish? Do you hold Tesla? I want to know who holds Tesla. Is it a significant part of your portfolio? I do like Tesla as a stock. I just like buying it at the right price. Under $100, around that $100 mark is a nice place for me to be picking up Tesla. These are some of the questions coming up tonight. I just want to go back to here as well and see if we've got the link yet. And yes, we do. We can listen in here, 23rd of July. Let's see the link here. We have got the official countdown, 47 minutes and 33 seconds. So we have a nice amount of time. Let me open a window. It's a little bit hot in here. We do have a bit of time to answer your questions. So let me know what you want to have a look at, your thoughts on Tesla, any specific questions as well. And I will be looking to see if we have any updates from Tesla's Twitter account. Nothing there. Let's see the shareholders deck. We can have a nice read through this. Got in at 170, so if it goes below 220, I'll be buying more. Interesting. Let's have a look at the price now. Below 220, we'll buy in more, says Time a Tell. Time a Tell. Let's see your price. You got in at 170. Buying price, quite a nice price. I mean, this is the area where my buys were when we went closer to the $100 mark. And this here, this another capitulation at 140, 170 is still a good price. It was just before the rally, which is nice. And below 220, you'll buy some more. Yeah, my next buy zone would be around the 210 mark. So not too far apart. But I would not be surprised if it does come back down to $210. Let's have a look at their report. Which one was it? Here it is. Profitability 1.6 million gap profit, but gap operating income, sorry, in Q2 after reconstructing other charges of 0.6 billion. Cash, let's see if we get a nice, there we go. Total automotive revenues. Year on year is down 7%. Energy generation and storage revenue. That was the question I was trying to answer, which was William's question, which was let's see what the question was exactly. Is it accurate to say that car profit was off, but megapack sales were great? So we can see here energy generation and storage, which is those megapacks you're talking about, is up 100% on year, which is very nice to see. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Revenue is a plus in growth in energy generation storage. Exactly. Cybertruck deliveries is up. Higher regulatory credit revenue is up. Growth in services and other is up. This is the negatives here. Reduced Model S, 3, X and Y vehicle average selling prices due to pricing attractive financial option and a mixed decline in their vehicle deliveries and a negative FX impact of 0.3 billion. Our operating income decreased. So they had reduced vehicle sales as noted above, reconstruction charges, increase in operating expenses largely driven by AI projects, decline in deliveries. However, there's higher regulatory credit revenue, higher growth in energy generation storage gross profit, plus is another lower cost per vehicle, including lower raw material costs, freight and duties. So they're saying it's cheaper to produce the cars, which is good, and lower cost of production ramp of the 4680 cells and other related charges. Cash. Quarter end cash equivalents and investments in Q2 was 30.7 billion, a sequential increase of 3.9 billion was a result of positive free cash flow of 1.3 billion driven by inventory decrease of 1.8 billion and a partially offset by AI infrastructure capex of 0.6 billion. So their cash has increased because they've sold their inventory, which is good. We have more people on the small extra channel, says Martyn. If we all hit that like button, we will end up with more people than Martyn. Let's see how many people he has.
This product in North America in December last year and have installed over 200 sites with an average of 45 kilowatts.
Martyn has 39 people watching.
The feedback of this product has been quite positive there as well, and we expect the growth to accelerate in the coming quarters.
See how many likes he has. Martyn has 12 likes, and we have 16 people watching. And let's see how many likes we have. We have 15 likes. So maybe we can tell him we have more likes than you, Martyn, if everyone hits that like button. Let's go back to the report. Operational summary. Model Y 3 production is down 16% year on year. That's a significant amount. That's why the stock's dropping. Other model production is up 24%. I guess that can include Cybertruck and Model S and X. Model Y, 3 and Y deliveries was down 5%. Total deliveries down 5%, of which subject to operating lease accounting is down 53%. So they're having problems on the leasing side of of things, it seems. How long until Elon speaks? It is, got the timer right here, about 41 minutes. Storage deployed is up 158%. Remember, once upon a time, Elon said their storage and energy side of the company can be bigger than their car side of the company, and I believe that. And they are finally on track to doing that. That's what I've always been bullish about Tesla. 5 years ago, when I started investing, and they took over, I think it was Solar City. Um, we thought that will have a big impact on the company. Maybe I was naive to think that. Um, and in fact, energy sales and energy part of their company was decreasing after acquisition, but now it's finally increasing. The reason I think I was naive is because it takes time, I think, for these things to happen. Just because you've acquired a company doesn't mean you can, in a year or two, start seeing those increases. I think finally now we're seeing a good ramp up of that storage, battery, solar side of the company. Tesla locations is up 20%. That's always nice to see. It's good to see Tesla locations popping up. Maybe you've seen some pop up near you. Tesla doesn't do much advertisement on TV, YouTube, so it's nice to actually be able to see their products in person. Mobile service fleet is up 7% as well. Super. Biggest problem with electric cars, everyone says, is the charging. And that's why Tesla has a great advantage over any other car manufacturer with their supercharger network, and that has grown another 23%. They've now got 6,400 supercharger stations, and supercharger connectors, the individual ones, is also up 24,000 with a total of nearly 60,000 chargers, which is amazing. I can barely understand the guy on the other channel. Sounds like I'm listening to the customer service guy on an ATT. Let's have a look.
Sites with an average of optimization. We train our AI models with data from over 4 million systems. In Q2, we launched our latest software in Netherlands and Belgium to manage dynamic electricity rates, helping homeowners maximize ROI and reduce payback periods as electricity prices fluctuate hourly. We see AI as a crucial technology to scale and enhance our products and services. Let's discuss our installer platform.
I can understand what you mean, but Elon Musk is not that easy to understand sometimes either. So let's see how our stream will do on that front. Vehicle capacity. We continue to add to our vehicle lineup globally, including the introduction of a new Model 3 and Model Y trims and an additional paint options for the sexy lineup. There you go, I said it. The S3 Model 3? Yeah. Yeah, it's because Model 3. Yes. They wanted to do an E, but I think Ford had the Model E line up. Anyway, after sequential decline in production in Q2, we expect the sequential increase in production in Q3. Here we go. US, California, Nevada, and Texas refreshed Model 3 ramp continued successfully, including the introduction of Model 3 Performance in Q2 and a long-range rear-wheel drive in July. We are also continued to qualify more Model 3 trims on the IRI tax credit. Cybertruck production more than tripled and remained on track to achieve profitability by the end of year. Wow, Cybertruck will be profitable by the end of year. That's interesting. Remember how long it took for the Model 3 to ramp production. The company was about to go bankrupt because of that, and they seem to have done much better with the Cybertruck. Preparation of semi factories continues, and it's on track to begin production by the end of 2025. And that will be another great part of the business, the semi-truck, sorry. So I've got a fly. Let's have a look at this chart over here on the right-hand side of the screen. Current installed annual vehicle capacity. Current installed annual vehicle capacity. Installed capacity, current production rate is not the same as current production rate, and there might be limitations discovered as production rate approaches capacity. Production rates depend on a variety of factors, including equipment uptime. So I guess this is saying it's not the same as production rates, but it should be fairly similar. So 100,000 Model S and Model X, 550,000 Model 3 and Y. This is in California. In Shanghai, 950,000. Berlin, Model Y is 375,000. So interesting. They don't seem to be making any Model 3s in Giga Berlin. So everything that comes to the UK and Europe, Model 3 wise, will be coming from either Shanghai or California. Interesting. But all our Model Ys are being built in Berlin. I assume they're going to start building Model 3s in Berlin as well. Cybertruck, 125,000 production. Pilot production, Tesla semis, that's in Nevada. Next gen platform is in production. Various Roadster in development. To remember the Roadster, that was unveiled before the Cybertruck. I think at the same time as the Model 3, and we still haven't heard much about the Roadster, which is a bit disappointing. But I guess in terms of a company trying to make money, the Roadster isn't going to make them the most amount of money. I won't be selling many of them. Horrible choice for speaker to do the earnings call. Rob Bannon, yes. We want it to be clear. AI, intelligent software and hardware. This is all their miles of information they have. Battery, powertrain, and manufacturing. In Q2, we produce over 50% more for 680 cells than in Q1, and we continue to see cost improvements. In July, we entered validation of vehicle testing for our first prototype Cybertruck, produced with in-house dry cathodes for 680 cells, and major cost reduction milestone once ramped. Cost reduction across the product lineup remains a top priority. So that's what they're probably going to be talking about a lot is they need to reduce the cost of how much their vehicles cost to make. 22 people watching. If you have just tuned in, please do hit the like button. Leave your comments in the comment section. Any specific questions, let me know. Energy generation storage. Both Megapack and Powerwall achieved record deployment in Q2, resulting in 9.4 gigawatt hours of total storage deployments. Overall, the energy business achieved record revenues and a gross profit in Q2. The Lathrop Megafactory continues to ramp successfully, achieving a production record in Q2, and the Shanghai Megafactory remains on track for start of production in Q1 of 2025. That will be big news when the Shanghai Megafactory starts producing these batteries and energy storage solutions. While we expect production to continue to grow sequentially, deployments will continue to fluctuate. Deployment timing depends on many factors, including project milestones and logistic timings. And as we deliver product globally from a single factory, Powerwall 3 rollout continued successfully and is now available in Canada, the UK, Germany, in addition to the US. Powerwall 3 is a big improvement to Powerwall 2. Let's keep going. We have sufficient liquidity to fund our product roadmap, long-term capacity expansion plans, and other expenses. Furthermore, we will manage the business such that we maintain a strong balance sheet during this uncertain period. We continue to this is for their profit. While we continue to execute on innovations to reduce the cost of manufacturing operations. Over time, we expect our hardware-related profits to be accompanied by acceleration of AI software and fleet-based profits. Photos and charts. Global battery electric vehicle market share, 12 months trailing. Wow, China is got a big market share. And the Chinese vehicles, I think, are much cheaper than Teslas and EVs across the world. Here's some pictures. This is their lithium refinery. Wow, one big operation going on there. It's not actually that big, but I think, as they said, it's more just to understand how the refining process works, and trying to understand it also when they go and buy their lithium, because they're not going to produce much, maybe 5-10 max of the lithium they need, probably less, from this refinery. The good thing about this refinery is they're going to understand how it all works, and when they go and buy their lithium from someone else, they know what they're talking about, and they can make a better deal. Cybertruck coating shop, this is where they're coating. Model Y in Quicksilver. 1.9% API available for all Model Y trims in the US through August 31st. A bit of advertisement in. And Martyn is still winning. Here we go. Let's look at the comments. Still winning. I'll send in my audience to you at the end. Extra rocks. We are 30 minutes from the end. Yes, Martyn with the extra channel is winning the views and the likes. So please do hit that like button. When Robotaxi, when iRobot, when Moon. Robotaxi, in my opinion, 2 years until we see some states start doing it. iRobot, 3-4 years. When Moon, who knows? Who's looking forward to the Robotaxi or Tesla bot release the most? I want a Tesla bot to make me a cup of tea every time I ring a bell. It will be not too long, maybe 5 years. Am I delusional in thinking that car sales profits aren't that consequential, as FSD advances energy AI ATC's long-term bull case is based on? Yeah, the car's a very small part of it, selling the car. I mean, it's what's sort of funding the business right now, allows them to have cash, but the data that's coming from these cars is worth more than the cars, how much they make from the cars, I think. I think if they could just get more, if they could just pay for data, it wouldn't be, I don't think it'll be that much more than the profits they make from the cars. So these cars on the road, the more they produce, the more they get out, the more people buy them. The data that comes in, once they've got their robo-taxi fleet going, and they've got all this data which they can probably sell for billions probably, that's when the real money comes into play. And then they've got their robo-taxis, and then they've got their AI, which is all being built up throughout this, and then the Tesla bots, where there'll be probably more bots than humans. So, and then the energy side of it, they can make more profits on that side. So yeah, I don't think the car itself is going to be that big of the bit, a large chunk of the business in the future. Rise of the Robots. Elon has never seen Terminator. Yeah, he's the one who always tells us it's not good, and then he's the one doing it. So let's see how it will go. Hopefully, we don't have a Terminator situation. Let's carry on with these pictures. Luna Silver. Do I like the color? It's okay. Mega packs, these are the energy storage solutions. Plus power 1 gigawatt hours. Sahara S, I can't pronounce that place. Optimus, autonomously handling battery cells. There he is. Coming to a home near you. Key metrics quarterly. There we go. Vehicle deliveries is down from last year on year. Operating cash flow and billions free cash flow. At least they've got their free cash flow back up. Vehicle deliveries is trending down. We were in such a nice uptrend, and now it's trending down, which isn't good to see. And I think that's what everyone's focused on right now. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Let's go back to the chart. Down 3.5% now. Let's have a look at the countdown. We've got 27 minutes to go. Who will be our John Connor? He'll be Martyn Lucas. He will be our John Connor. Let's have a look at the questions that that are going to be asked. What is the status on the Roadster? That would be a nice question, because we haven't heard about the Roadster in a long time. We need some updates on the Roadster. When exactly is the Robotaxi event? If not 0808. Okay, let's see if we get an answer for that. When do you expect the first Robotaxi ride? Interesting. The Cybertruck is an iconic product and wows everyone who sees it. So, do you have plans to expand the cyber vehicle lineup to cyber SUV or cyber van? Interesting. What is the current status of the 680 battery cell operation? How is the ramp up progressing? I love the fact that they do questions like this. You get all these amazing analysts from all these banks and institutions coming and asking the most boring questions that no one really cares about. Most of the time, they're already answered. Most of the time, you can find the answers for them in the report. When you've got the actual investors and everyone voting with their shares to get these questions answered, you come up with an array of much better questions, in my opinion. Maybe more entertaining, maybe certainly more entertaining, but I think also more useful, to be honest. You can see these have 2.2 million Tesla shares represented with this question about the Roadster. Any update on Dojo? 1.4 million Tesla shares represented. Do you feel like you're cheating people out of their joys of owning a Tesla by not advertising? Do you feel you're cheating people out of the joys of owning a Tesla by not advertising? I don't quite understand that one. Interesting. Will Tesla Energy continue to see rapid growth and gigawatt-hour deployment going forward? They're going to say on the long term, yes, but every quarter you would see fluctuations um, based on projects and where they are in their projects. What is the updated timeline for Giga Mexico, and what will be the primary vehicles produced initially? Yes, we want an update about Giga Mexico. Is Tesla still in talks with OEM to license full self-driving? Any update on investing in XAI and integrating Grok into Tesla software? When do you expect Optimus to be available for purchase? Oh, okay. Someone already asked that question in our comment section. So let's see. I said 5 years. Tesla, Elon's probably going to say 3 years or 2 years, but that's Elon time, so it'll probably be longer. What is the schedule for the Tesla van? Tesla van, that would be interesting. What are Tesla's two biggest priorities for the next 5 years? Will Robotaxi be available for individual customer ownership as a profit-generating venture? And will Tesla roll this out immediately, or Tesla own the vehicles first? I think you won't be answering all these questions. Okay, let's have a look at your questions. I would ask if David likes my answer. Van says, I would ask if they're aiming for EU markets with Cybertruck and what they're going to do to meet regulations. Yes. I don't think it's on the top of his list. I think just selling in the US will be more than enough for him. But I think it's already mentioned that they might look into a smaller version for the EU. But I don't think that will cover the regulations of hitting a human. We should ask him what his fail-safes is that the robots don't rise up in 2040 and take over the world. Yes, we should. I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. James 007, where's that come from? Your clothes, your boots, and motorcycle. James is back and he's come with a strange comment. Let's see where Martyn is with his.
The next question will come from Brian Lee with Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the questions. Maybe this is for either Badri or Raghu. Can you talk about the competitive landscape at all? Just thoughts around some reports, Tesla Powerwall 3 gaining traction, and then maybe on the flip side, your most direct MLPE peer having some struggles. Just kind of what's the market share landscape looking like for you? Are you gaining some traction? And then secondary.
Sorry, I'm on mute. I was just checking Tesla, seeing if they've updated anything. Now I'm going to check Elon Musk's Twitter. Tesla quarterly update is here. Here are the highlights. We continue to expand our vehicle lineup globally with new trims of Model 3 and Y, as well as new sexy paint options. Vehicle. Refresh Model 3 ramp continued successfully. We also continue to no Vaz, don't worry, it was me. We also continue to qualify more Model 3. Sorry, I'm reading the comments now. Sensei, it's a quote out of the film Terminator 2. Sorry. I need to watch Terminator again. It must be many, many, many years since I have seen it. I need to produce anyway. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, I'm so stupid. Sorry about that, James. We'll continue to qualify more Model 3 trims for the IRA tax credit. I don't want to be that. Let's have a look at your comments. That's the priority. I don't want to be that guy, but do any of these AI and robot manufacturers have the golden room? Have the golden room like on iRobot? That these things don't really happen. No one thought half the stuff Back to the Future would ever happen, and now look. What do you mean I don't want to be that guy, but do any of these AI and robot manufacturers have the golden room like on iRobot? What do you mean iRobot, the vacuum cleaner? That's all I'm thinking of when you say iRobot. No, that's Roomba. What's iRobot? No one thought that half the stuff in Back to the Future would ever happen, and now like yes, that is true. Just clarify that. Maybe I'm being stupid, but I don't quite understand. Cybertruck production was more than tripled sequentially, remaining on track for profitability by the end of 2024. Ongoing preparation of semi-factory on track for production to start by end of 2025. Have you seen iRobot? No, I haven't. Ongoing preparation of semi-factory on track for production to start by end of 2025. The Giga Berlin began producing rear-wheel drive. Oh, here we go. Giga Berlin began producing. I think it's no, 8 HD vehicles. I think it's rear-wheel drive vehicles and delivered its first units to Tesla UK. Should we have a look at Tesla's website in the UK and pick a car to buy? There we go. Let's go Europe, United Kingdom. Here we go. It's a good one. Maybe I've watched it. iRobot with Will Smith. I will put it on the list. I will watch that next time we meet again on YouTube. Let's see. Order now. Let's see what cars they have available in the UK now. 2 to 3 weeks for delivery. Oh, 0% APR. Your new Tesla. Oh, and this is on the new. Oh, this is on Model Y. Model Y. Model Y's got. Interesting. 0% APR is very, very enticing, isn't it? Order and take delivery of your new Tesla before 30th of September. Quite expensive though in the UK. You don't get any tax credits. 44,000. Wow. What do you get? The rear wheel, long range, or performance? Martyn's going to come onto the show and say this has turned from an investing show to buying a car show. Rear wheel drive. I was just trying to see if we were trying to look for the Model 3 because they've just announced that they've got the rear wheel drive in the UK. So let's see if they do. Let's go back to the website. Are they only selling Model Y? Oh, we go. Model 3. Let's see if they've got the rear wheel drive. Yes, they do. I think this is what they were talking about. But they're not always have the rear-wheel drive. Interesting. 40,000, and this. Oh, okay. This has the 0% as well. I never understand car financial options, PCP, hire purchase, personal contract hire. I just never understand which one's the best to get. That's why I've never got one on like this. But yeah, they're doing 0%, and it takes August to September. Let's see the rest. I don't think there will be any Cybertrucks in the UK. Have a quick look. I don't even think they'll showcase it on the UK website. Model S, Powerwall, that's the Powerwall 3 that they just announced coming in. I'm sure it is, I've already seen it. Yes, it is. Okay, we are 14 minutes and 30 seconds away. The guy who says that robots will learn and take over the world. Okay, iRobot with Will Smith, it's a good one to watch. I wonder who will be the first to mod the Tesla robot. That's? I'm not sure. It'll probably be you. I'm joking. It won't take long, says David. New SBC news next week with the installment of the Delta Diaries. Interesting, thank you, M4TTD. Back to the chart of Tesla, we are now down 4.5%. It's not enough of a drop for me to get excited. Let's go on the 4-hour time frame. It is dropping a fair amount, but it's not enough for me to get excited. Let's remove the Fibonacci points. 208 is where I see it going. We might see a bit of support at the previous lows. Let's draw that in. At 232, but to me it seems like, because remember we broke out but we never tested it as support. Every time we break out of areas you want to test it as support. For example, you break out, you go up to here, and then you come back, test it, then you go to the next level, then you go to the next level, test it, then you continue going higher, consolidate for a bit longer, go up, test it, and then we finally move up. So over here we didn't do much test. We did a small test, but I'd see 208 coming up. But right now there's not really much for trade. Either way, you're going to 266 or 208. But there's not a trade to be taken right now. Sorry, I haven't even been showing the screen. What I was showing you is when you move up, you test an area, you move higher, you come back down, you test an area, you move up, you test the previous resistance that's turned into support, you move up. And over here, we had a small test, but we can come back down to 208 and test it again to then move up to 266, break out of 266, move up to 300, come back to 266, and then you've tested this previous downtrend and you can create a new trend. Right now it's just in an area where I don't really want to get involved with the stock, sort of in the middle of no man's land for me anyway. Look at the comments. Vaz says, won't be me, Sensei, I'm not good at programming. David says, will you be the first in line, Vaz? I might be right behind you. I'll leave this conversation. Okay. Very close now, 11 minutes until we get started. Let's see if Martyn is still going.
Demand. Additionally, we are hearing that the Fed will lower interest rates this year.
Does anyone in the chat own a Tesla? And no one's told me if they own Tesla stock either. Would you rather buy a Tesla or Tesla stock? If you had £40,000, would you buy the car or would you buy the stock? Right now, I know in the future it might change, you might be able to buy the car and also make money through the robo-taxi, but right now, would you rather buy the car or buy the stock? And do you own the stock and do you own the car? Let me know in the comments. Let's see how many likes we have. We've got 22 likes, 20 people watching. Please do hit that like button if you have just got in. We are going to start the earnings in about 10 minutes. Well, we're not. Elon's going to start it, but we're going to be listening in. How many likes does Martyn have? He has 40 people watching, it seems. Got a big audience for Enphase with 18 likes. So we've got more likes than Martyn. I'm going to definitely comment that on his show. Oh, I'm on the wrong. If everyone can go into the extra channel and just let him know that we have more likes than him.
With backup, and it's a highly differentiated solution. It's the smallest size battery with three-phase capability. In addition, that battery is going to have phenomenal round-trip efficiency because we are innovating on, turning off the unused microinverters when the consumption of the user is pretty low. That enhances the efficiency and avoids waste. So round-trip efficiency is going to be better than competition. So that battery is going to open up a nice TAM in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, where there are a lot.
I don't know if he's seen it yet. Oh, here we go. We've got some comments coming in now. I think it's too late to buy the stock at this level, says Vaz, but I don't like the car either. Yeah, it's a very sort of Marmite car, isn't it? It's like, do you want an electric car? But I feel like if you want an electric car, I think if you want a modern car, Tesla's the most modern you can really get. And it's got nice features, so yeah. I think it's too late to buy the stock. Yeah, I don't know about the Tesla car, to be honest. I like it because it's so futuristic and what you can do and customize it, but also while we can, why don't we still buy some nice petrol cars? I think I have 1,212 Tesla shares. I also got married on 12/12/12. Wow, that's nice. You can see Martyn panicking on the likes. He's getting everyone to like his. He's got 18 likes. Oh, how many likes does he have? He's got 19 likes. How many likes do we have? We must have more than 19 likes. We've got 22. We've got 20. Smash that like button, anyone who hasn't yet. We've got 22 likes. And Martyn's got. Oh, Martyn's lying. We have 22. You have 19. Shame fish. That's funny. I would love to try an electric, but not Tesla. Yeah, I think Kia has some nice electric cars. Hyundai has nice electric cars as well. That's Martyn. Shame Fisker is gone. It was my fave. It was my fave. Yeah, Fisker was good. It was really, really nice build quality. It was a nice looking car, but then you'd just get so annoyed with the functionality of it. It doesn't have billions and billions of dollars behind it to fix every software update. It can't just suddenly give you an amazing update. Tesla will always be great at that. Damn it, you're right. Martyn's just realised we have more likes than him.
likes on the extra channel with a smaller audience.
A lot of new products are coming.
Everybody smash the like, please.
Many of them are, some of them will be available in Q3.
Sensei's
some of them
winding
will be
me up
available
here.
in Q4. But like what I said, they're all
Smash
going
the like
to
button,
propel us
everyone. We
in
need
the
to
right
beat
direction.
Martyn on likes. He's now getting everyone. Team Fusion's just, I like this show.
And our next question will come from Colin Roosh with Oppenheimer. Go ahead.
Thanks so much. Guys, can you talk about the guidance for the batteries? How much of
You can see Team Fusion's just commented there, but just unlike Sensei. I'm going to have to... I'm going to give everyone the link to this show so they can come over and watch it with us. We are 5 minutes away from the earnings, so do stay around. Okay, let's see your comments. But yeah, I got everyone to like easy, says Martyn. Let's see how many likes he has now. This show has just turned into a like battle. He's got 27 likes and we have 22 likes. Anyway, let's continue. We've got about 4 minutes until the main event. We've just been blabbering before, but now we're going to get into the gist of it. Actually, I lied. We did look at the whole financial report, the most key parts. We have also looked at the key takeaways. We've looked at the chart. So it'll be interesting to get Elon Musk's thoughts on it as well now. Let's read your final comments before we start. It might come back under another name in a couple of years, fingers crossed. Yes, that can happen. The Cybertruck is hideous. He can make it so much more like a sports car and not like some kind of stainless glass window looking junk, says David. He has some very strong thoughts about the Cybertruck. Hopium stock volume C. Hopium stock. We are focusing on Tesla stock as we've got 3 minutes until the earnings. We have 3 minutes to go. Start building up the audience. We have 3 minutes to go until the Tesla earnings. Okay, let's have a quick look at the chart before we start. 236 is the price we're at, down 4%. Let's quickly see what Dow Jones is saying. Tesla's robo taxi lineup hinges on new tech, regulatory approvals, market talk. And that's nothing new. Tesla gives nod to regulatory credits as rivals lag on emissions. Kamala Harris versus Trump. Electric Harris policies on EVs would likely mirror Biden's. The Detroit Free Press reported. Trump promises to scale back EV mandates. Economists say that's bad news for the industry. Very, very close now. Here we go. Just got the audio. It looks like they're doing it from YouTube. Interesting. Let's just watch it on YouTube then. I believe they're also doing it on Twitter. They'll definitely be doing it on Twitter now. Let's see, maybe we'll watch it on Twitter because there's not a specific link. You can listen here, but it takes you to YouTube, which is not useful. Very close now. 30 likes Martyn has. Let's see how many likes we're on. 22. Okay, we're getting very close to getting started. I'm just going to pick the best one to use. It will either be the YouTube or the Twitter. There's still music being played. We have not started yet, or we might watch it on Twitter. Let's see what will be better. They are still not starting. We are still not started. It will start any second now. Two possible ways of doing it, YouTube or Twitter. Normally they have their own, but it doesn't look like they do this time.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tesla's second quarter 2024 Q&A webcast. My name is Travis Axelrod, Head of Investor Relations, and I'm joined today by Elon Musk, Vaibhav Taneja, and a number of other executives. Our Q2 results were announced at about 3 p.m. Central Time in the update deck we published at the same link as this webcast. Forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Actual events or results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our most recent filings with the SEC. On YouTube. During the question and answer portion of today's call, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Please use the raise hand button to join the question queue. Before we jump into Q&A, Elon has some opening remarks. Elon?
Thank you. So to recap, we saw large adoption acceleration in EVs, and then a bit of a hangover as others struggle to make compelling EVs. So there have been quite a few competing electric vehicles that have entered the market, and mostly they have not done well, but they have discounted their EVs very substantially, which has made it a bit more difficult for Tesla. We don't see this as a long-term issue, but really as fairly short-term. And we still obviously firmly believe that EVs are best for customers and that the world is headed for a fully electrified transport, not just of cars, but also of aircraft and boats. Despite many challenges, the Tesla team did a great job executing, and we did achieve record quarterly revenues. Energy storage deployments reached an all-time high in Q2, leading to record profits for the energy business. And we're investing in many future projects, including AI training and inference, and a great deal of infrastructure to support future products. We won't get too much into the product roadmap here because that is reserved for product announcement events. But we are on track to deliver a more affordable model in the first half of next year. Really, by far, the biggest differentiator for Tesla is autonomy. And in addition to that, we have scale economies, and we're the most efficient electric vehicle producer in the world. So, anyway. While others are pursuing different parts of the AI robotics stack, we are pursuing all of them. This allows for better cost control, more scale, quicker time to market, and a superior product. Applying not just to autonomous vehicles, but to autonomous humanoid robots like Optimus.
You can tell he was reading a script, and then he went off track, and now he's back on the script.
And robotaxi, we've made a lot of progress with Full Self-Driving in Q2, and with version 12.5 beginning rollout, we think customers will experience a step change improvement in how well supervised Full Self-Driving works. Version 12.5 has 5 times the parameters of 12.4 and will finally merge the highway and city stacks. So the highway stack is still, at this point, is pretty old. So often the issues people encounter are on the highway, but with 12.5, we finally merged the 2 stacks. I still find that most people actually don't know how good the system is. And I would encourage anyone to understand the system better to simply try it out and let the car drive you around. One of the things we're going to be doing just to make sure people actually understand the capabilities of the car is when delivering a new car and when picking up a car for service, to just show people how to use it and just drive them around the block. Once people use it at all, they tend to continue using it. So it's very compelling, and then this, I think, will be a massive demand driver. Even unsupervised full self-driving will be a massive demand driver. And as we increase the miles between intervention, it will transition from supervised full self-driving to unsupervised full self-driving, and we can unlock massive potential in the fleet. We postponed the sort of robotaxi or the sort of product unveil by a couple months, where it's shifted to 10/10, so the 10th of October. And this is because I wanted to make some important changes that I think would improve the vehicle, the sort of the robotaxi, the main thing that we're going to show, and we're also going to show off a couple of other things. So moving it back a few months allowed us to improve the robotaxi, as well as add in a couple other things for the product unveil. We're also nearing completion of the south expansion of Giga Texas, which will house our largest training cluster to date. This will be an incremental 50,000 H100s plus 20,000 of our hardware 4 or AI5 Tesla AI computer. With Optimus, Optimus is already performing tasks in our factory, and we expect to have Optimus production version 1 in limited production starting early next year. This will be for Tesla consumption. It's just better for us to iron out the issues ourselves. But we expect to have several thousand Optimus robots produced and doing useful things by the end of next year in the Tesla factories. And then in 2026, ramping up production quite a bit. And at that point, we'll be providing Optimus robots to outside customers. That'll be production version 2 of Optimus. For the energy business, this is growing faster than anything else. We're really demand constrained rather than production constrained. So we're ramping up production in our US factory, as well as building the Megapack factory in China that should roughly double our output. Maybe more than double our output, maybe triple potentially. So in conclusion, we're super excited about the progress across the board. We're changing the energy system, how people move around, how people approach the economy. The undertaking is massive, but I think the future is incredibly bright. I really just can't emphasize just the importance of autonomy for the vehicle side and for Optimus. Although the numbers sound crazy, I think Tesla producing at volume with unsupervised FSD, essentially enabling the fleet to operate like a giant autonomous fleet, and it takes the valuation, I think, to some pretty crazy number. ARK Invest thinks on the order of $5 trillion. I think they're probably not wrong. And long-term Optimus, I think, achieves a valuation several times that number. I want to thank the Tesla team for strong execution and looking forward to exciting years ahead. Great.
Thank you very much, Elon. And Vaibhav has opening remarks as well.
Thanks.
James,
As
I'll
Elon
choose
mentioned,
Tesla.
The Tesla team rose to the occasion yet again and delivered on all fronts with some notable records. In addition to those records, we saw our automotive deliveries grow sequentially. I would like to thank the entire Tesla team for their efforts in delivering a great quarter. On the auto business front, affordability remains a top of mind for customers, and in response, in Q2, we offered attractive financing options to offset sustained high interest rates. These programs had an impact on revenue per unit in the quarter. These impacts will persist into Q3 as we have already launched similar programs. We're now offering extremely competitive financing rates in most parts of the world. This is the best time to buy a Tesla. I mean, if you're waiting on the sidelines, come out and get your car. We had a record quarter on regulatory credits revenues and as well. On net, our auto margins remained flat sequentially. It is important to note that the demand for regulatory credits is dependent on other OEMs' plans for the kind of vehicles they're manufacturing and selling, as well as changes in regulations. We pride ourselves to be the company with the most American-made cars and are continuing our journey to further localize our supply chain, not just in the US, but in Europe and China, as well for the respective factories. As always, our focus is on providing the most compelling products at a reasonable price. We have stepped up our efforts to provide more trims that have estimated range of more than 300 miles on a single charge. We believe this, along with the expansion of our supercharging network, is the right strategy to combat range anxiety. Since the revision of FSD pricing in North America, we've seen adoption rates increase meaningfully and expect this to be a driver of vehicle sales as the feature set improves further. Cost per vehicle declined sequentially when we remove the impact of Cybertruck. While we are experiencing material costs trending down, note that there is latency on the cost side, and such reductions would show up in the P&L when the vehicles built with these materials get delivered. Additionally, as we get into the second half of the year, it is important to note that we are still ramping Cybertruck and Model 3 and are also getting impacted by varying amounts of tariffs on both raw materials and finished goods. While our teams are working feverishly to offset these, unfortunately, it may have an impact on the cost in the near term. We previously talked about the potential of the energy business and now feel excited that the foundation that was laid over time is bearing the expected results. Energy storage deployments more than doubled, with contribution not just from Megapack, but also Powerwall, resulting in record revenues and profits for the energy business. Energy storage backlog is strong. As discussed before, deployments will fluctuate from period to period, with some quarters seeing large increases and others seeing a decline. Recognition of storage gigawatt hours is dependent on a variety of factors, including logistics timing, as we send units from a single factory to markets across the world, customer readiness, and in case of EPC projects on construction activities. Moving on to the other parts of the business, service and other gross profits also improved sequentially from the improvement in service utilization and growth in our collision repair business. The impact of our recent reorg is reflected in restructuring and other on the income statement. Just to level set, this was about $622 million of charge, which got recorded in the period. And I want people to remember that we've called it out separately on the financials. Sequentially, our operating expenses, excluding such charges, reduced despite an increase in spend for AI-related activities and higher legal and other costs. On the CapEx front, while we saw a sequential decline in Q2, we still expect the year to be over $10 billion in CapEx as we increase our spend to bring a 50K GPU cluster online. This new cluster will immensely increase our capabilities to scale FSD and other AI initiatives. We reverted to positive free cash flow of $1.3 billion in Q2. This was despite restructuring payments being made in the quarter, and we ended the quarter with over $30 billion of cash and investments. Once again, we've begun the journey towards the next phase for the company, with the building blocks being placed. It will take some time, but will be a rewarding experience for everyone involved. Once again, I would like to thank the entire Tesla team for their efforts.
Great. Thank you very much, Vaibhav. Now let's go to investor questions. The first question is, what is the status on the Roadster?
With respect to the Roadster, we've completed most of the engineering, and I think there's still some upgrades we want to make to it, but we expect to be in production with the Roadster next year.
Great.
It'll be something special, like a Hall of Famer, I think.
Fantastic. The next question is about timing of robotaxi event, which we've already covered. So we'll go to the next question. When do you expect the first robotaxi ride?
I guess that's really just a question of when do I expect the first, when can we do unsupervised full self-driving? It's difficult, obviously, my predictions on this have been overly optimistic in the past. So, I mean, based on the current trend, it seems as though we should get miles between interventions to be high enough that it should be far enough in excess of humans that you could do unsupervised.
Please hit the like button.
Year. I would be shocked if we cannot do it next year. So next year seems highly probable to me based on simply plus the points of the curve of miles between intervention. That trend exceeds humans for sure next year. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Our third question is, the Cybertruck is an iconic product that wows everyone who sees it. Do you have plans to expand the cyber vehicle lineup to a cyber SUV or cyber van?
I think we want to limit product announcements to when we have a specific product announcement event rather than earnings calls.
Great, thank you. Our next question is, what is the current status of 4680 battery cell production and how is the ramp up progressing?
Yeah. 4680 production ramped strongly in Q2, delivering 51% more cells than Q1, while reducing COGS significantly. We currently produce more than 1,400 Cybertrucks of 4680 cells per week, and we'll continue to ramp output as we drive costs down further towards the cost parity target we set for the end of the year. We've built our first validation Cybertruck with dry cathode process made on our mass production equipment, which is a huge technical milestone, and we're super proud of that. We're on track for production launch with dry cathode in Q4. And this will enable cell costs to be significantly below available alternatives, which was the original goal of the 4680 program.
Great.
Thank you very much. The next question is, any update on Dojo?
Yeah, so Dojo, I should preface this by saying I'm incredibly impressed by NVIDIA's execution and the capability of their hardware. And what we are seeing is that the demand for NVIDIA hardware is so high that it's often difficult to get the GPUs. There just seems this, I guess I'm quite concerned about actually being able to get state-of-the-art NVIDIA GPUs when we want them. I think this therefore requires that we put a lot more effort on Dojo in order to ensure that we've got the training capability that we need. So we are going to double down on Dojo, and we do see a path to being competitive with NVIDIA with Dojo. And I think we kind of have no choice because the demand for NVIDIA is so high, and it's obviously their obligation essentially to raise the price of GPUs to whatever the market will bear, which is very high. So I think we've really got to make Dojo work, and we will.
Great. The next question is, what type of accessories will be offered with Optimus?
Optimus is intended to be a generalized humanoid robot with a lot of intelligence. So it's like saying, what kind of accessories would be offered with a human? It's just really intended to be able to be backwards compatible with human tasks. So it would, use any accessories that a human would use. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is, do you feel you're cheating people out of the joys of owning a Tesla by not advertising?
We are doing some advertising. So,
yeah,
want to say something?
Yeah, I'll say something. Our fundamental belief is that we need to be providing the best products at a reasonable price to the consumers. Just to give you a fact, in US alone in Q2, over 2/3 of our sales deliveries were to people who had never owned a Tesla before, and which is encouraging. We've spent money on advertising and other awareness programs, and we have adjusted our strategy. We're not saying no to advertising, but this is a dynamic play, and we know that we have not exhausted all our options, and therefore plan to keep adjusting in the later half of this year as well.
Great, thank you very much. The next question is on energy growth, which we already covered in opening remarks. So we'll move on to the next one. What is the updated timeline for Giga Mexico, and what will be the primary vehicles produced initially?
Well, we currently are paused on Giga Mexico. I think we need to see just where things stand after the election. Trump has said that he will put heavy tariffs on vehicles produced in Mexico. So it doesn't make sense to invest a lot in Mexico if that is going to be the case. So we kind of need to see where things play out politically. However, we are increasing capacity at our existing factories quite significantly. And I should say that the cyber taxi or robotaxi will be produced here at our headquarters at Giga, Texas.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, as will Optimus towards the end of next year for Optimus production version 2. The high volume version of Optimus will also be produced here in Texas.
Great, thank you. Just a couple more. Is Tesla still in talks with an OEM to license FSD?
There are a few major OEMs that have expressed interest in licensing Tesla Full Self-Driving, and I suspect there will be more over time, but we can't comment on the details of those discussions.
All right, thank you. And the last one, any updates on investing in xAI and integrating Grok into Tesla software?
I should say that Tesla is learning quite a bit from xAI. It's been actually helpful in advancing Full Self-Driving and in building up the new Tesla data center. Regarding investing in xAI, I think we'd need to have a shareholder approval of any such investment. But I'm certainly supportive of that if shareholders are. But I think we need a vote on that. And I think that there are opportunities to integrate Grok into Tesla software. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. And now we will move on to analyst questions. The first question comes from Will Stein from Truist. Will, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Great, thanks so much for taking my question. And this relates a little bit to the last one that was asked. Elon, I share your strong enthusiasm about AI, and I recognize Tesla's opportunity to do some great things with the technology, but there are some concerns I have about Tesla's commercialization, and that's what I'd like to ask about. Specifically, there were some news stories through the quarter that indicated that you redirected some AI compute systems that were destined for Tesla instead to xAI, or perhaps it was to X, I'm not sure. And similarly, a few quarters ago, if you recall, I asked about your ability to hire engineers in this area, and you noted that there was a great desire for some of these engineers to work on projects that you were involved with, but some of them weren't at Tesla. They were instead at xAI or perhaps even X again. So the question is, when it comes to your capital investments, your AI R&D, your AI engineers, how do you make allocation decisions among these various ventures, and how do you make Tesla owners comfortable that you're doing it in a way that really benefits them? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're referring to a very like an old article regarding GPUs. I think that's like six or 7 months old. Tesla simply had no place to turn them on. So it would have been a waste of Tesla capital because we would just have to order H100s and have no place to turn them on. So it was just, this wasn't a, let's pick XAI over Tesla. There was no, the Tesla data centers were full. There was no place to actually put them. We've been working 24/7 to complete the south extension on the Tesla Gigafactory here in Texas. That south extension is what will house the 50,000 H100s, and we're beginning to move the H100 server racks into place there. But we needed that to be complete physically. You can't just order GPUs and turn them on with no. You need a data center. It's not possible. So I want to be clear that was in Tesla's interest, not contrary to Tesla's interest. Does Tesla no good to have GPUs that it can't turn on? The split second that south extension is able to take GPUs, which is really just this week. We are moving GPUs in there and we'll bring them online. With regard to XAI, there are people that only want to work on AGI. So what I was finding was that when trying to recruit people to Tesla, they were only interested in working on AGI, not Tesla specific problems, and they want to do a startup. So it was a case of either they go to a startup or and I'm involved, or they do a startup and I'm not involved. Those are the two choices. This wasn't they would come to Tesla. They were not going to come to Tesla under any circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would even add that, AI is a broad spectrum, and there are a lot of things which, we are focused on full self-driving as Tesla and also Optimus. But there's the other spectrum of AI which we're not working on, and that's the kind of work which other companies are trying to do, in this case, XAI. So you have to keep that in mind, that it's a broad spectrum. It's not just one specific thing.
Yeah, and once again, I want to just repeat myself here. I tried to recruit them to Tesla, including to say, like, you can work on AGI if you want, and they refused. Only then was XAI created.
I really appreciate that clarification. If I can ask one follow-up, it relates to the new vehicles that you're planning to introduce next year. I understand this is not the venue for product announcements, but when we think about the focus, I've heard on the one hand that the focus is on cost reduction. On the other hand, you also said that the Roadster would come out. Should we expect other, maybe more limited variants, like similar to the cars that you make today, but with some changes or improvements or different, some other variability in the form factors? Should we expect that to be a significant part of the strategy in the next year or two?
I don't want to get into the details of product announcements, and we have to be careful of the Osborne effect here. So, if you start announcing some great thing, it affects our near-term sales. We're going to make great products in the future, just like we have in the past. End of story.
Great. The next question comes from Ben Callow from Baird. Ben, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. When we think about revenue contribution and with energy growing so quickly and, optimists on the come, how do we think about, the overall segments longer term? And then do you think that auto revenue will fall below 50% of your overall revenue? And then my follow-up is just on the last call, you talked about distributed compute on your new hardware. Could you just update us and talk a little bit more about that, the timeline for it, and how you would reward customers for letting you use their compute power in their cars? Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said a few times, I think the long-term value of Optimus will exceed that of everything else at Tesla combined. So it's simply, if you just simply consider the usefulness, utility of a humanoid robot that can do pretty much anything you ask of it. I think everyone on Earth is going to want one. There's 8 billion people on Earth, so that's 8 billion right there. Then you've got all of the industrial uses, which is probably at least as much, if not way more. So I suspect that the long-term demand for general-purpose humanoid robots is in excess of 20 billion units. And Tesla has the most advanced humanoid robot in the world, and is also very good at manufacturing, which these other companies are not. And we've got a lot of experience the most experience. We're the world leaders in real-world AI. So we have all of the ingredients. I think we're unique in having all of the ingredients necessary for large-scale, high-utility, generalized humanoid robots. That's why, my rough estimate long-term is in accordance with the ARK Invest analysis of, a market cap of on the order of 5 trillion for, maybe more for autonomous transport. And it's several times that number for general-purpose humanoid robots. At that point, I'm not sure what money even means. But in the benign AI scenario, we're headed for an age of abundance, where there is no shortage of goods and services. Anyone can have pretty much anything they want. It's a very wild future we're headed for.
And on the distributed compute?
Yeah, distributed compute. That seems like a pretty obvious thing to do. I think where the distributed compute becomes interesting is with our next generation Tesla AI chip, which is hardware 5, or what we're calling AI 5, which is from the standpoint of inference capability comparable to a B200, an NVIDIA B200. And we're aiming to have that in production at the end of next year and scale production in 26. So it just seems like even if you've got autonomous vehicles that are operating for 50 or 60 hours a week, there's 168 hours in a week. So you have somewhere above, I think, 100 neural net computing. I think we need a better word than GPU, because GPU means graphics processing unit. So there's 100 hours plus per week of AI inference compute from the fleet, from the vehicles, and probably some percentage from the humanoid robots, that it would make sense to do distributed inference. And if there's a fleet of, at some point, 100 million vehicles with AI 5 and beyond, because AI 6 and 7 and whatnot, and there may be billions of humanoid robots, that is just a staggering amount of inference compute that could be used for general purpose computing. It doesn't have to be used for the humanoid robot or for the car. So I think that's a pretty obvious thing to say, like, well, it's more useful than having to do nothing.
All right, thank you. The next question comes from Alex Potter from Piper. Alex, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Perfect, thanks. Wanted to ask a question on FSD licensing. You mentioned that in passing previously. Was just wondering if you can elaborate maybe on the mechanics of how that would work. I guess presumably this would not be some sort of simple plug and play proposition. Presumably an OEM would need, I don't know, several years to develop its own vehicle platform that's based on FSD. I imagine they would need to adopt Tesla's electrical architecture, compute, sensor stack. So correct me if I'm sort of misunderstanding this, but if you had a cooperative agreement of some kind with another OEM, then presumably it would take you several years before you'd be able to recognize licensing revenue from that agreement. Is that the right way to think about that?
Yes. The OEMs do not move fast. There's not really a sensor suite. It's just cameras. But they would have to integrate our AI computer and have cameras with a 360-degree view. And at least the gateway, like what talks to the internet and communicates with the Tesla system, with that, you need kind of a gateway computer too. So it's really a gateway computer with cellular and Wi-Fi connectivity, the Tesla AI computer, and 7 cameras, or enough cameras to get a 360-degree view. But this will, given the speed at which the auto industry moves, it would be several years before you would see this in volume.
Okay, good. That's more or less what I expected. So then the follow-up here is, if you did sign an FSD licensing agreement with another automaker, when do you think you would disclose that? Would you do it right when you sign the agreement, or only after that multiple years has passed and the vehicle is ready to be rolled out?
I think it depends on the OEM. I guess we'd be happy either way.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of arrangement we enter into. A lot of those things we've not ironed those out yet. So we'll make that determination as and when we get to that point.
Okay. And the kind of deals that are obviously relevant are only if, some OEM is willing to do this in 1 million cars a year or something significant. It's not if it's like 10,000 or 100,000 cars a year. We could just make that ourselves.
All right, thank you. The next question comes from Dan Levi from Barclays. Dan, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for taking the questions. First, wanted to start with a question on Shanghai. You've leveraged Shanghai as an export center, really due to its low cost, and that makes sense. But maybe you can just give us a sense of how the strategy changes, if at all, given the implementation of tariffs in Europe. Also, to what extent your import of batteries from China into the US, how that might change given the tariffs. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I covered some part of it in my opening remarks, but just to give you a little bit more, just on the tariff side, the European authorities did sample certain other OEMs in the first round to establish the tariffs for cars being imported from China into Europe. While we were not picked up in our individual examination in the first round, they did pick us up in the second round. They visited our factory. We worked with them, provided them all the information. As a result, we are adjusting our import strategy out of China into Europe. One other thing to note is in Q2 itself, we started building right-hand Model Ys out of Berlin, and we also delivered it in UK. And, we're adjusting as needed, but we will keep adjusting. We're still importing Model 3s into Europe out of Shanghai. And, we are still evaluating what is the best alternate to manage all this. Just on the examination by the European authorities, like I said, we cooperated with them well. We are confident that we should get a better rate than what they have imposed for now. But this is literally evolving, and we are adjusting as fast as we can with this. It is, I would also add that, because of this, you've seen the impact that Berlin is doing more imports into places like Taiwan, as well as, UK I just mentioned. So it will keep changing, and we will keep adapting as we go about it.
Great, thanks. Yeah, thank you. As a follow-up, I wanted to ask about the robotaxi strategy, and specifically the shareholder deck here notes that the release is going to be one of the gating factors is regulatory approval. So maybe you could help us understand, which regulations specifically are the ones that we should be looking for. Is it FMVSS that's standard? And then, to what extent does the strategy shift you've done with FSD more of a nationwide, no boundary approach? Is the robotaxi approach one that's more geofenced, so to speak, and is more driven by a state-by-state approach?
I mean, our solution is a generalized solution, unlike what everybody else has. If you see it like Waymo and whatnot, they have a very localized solution that requires high density mapping. It's quite fragile. So, their ability to expand rapidly is limited. Our solution is a general solution that works anywhere. It would even work on a different Earth. So if you rendered a new Earth, it would work on a new Earth. So there's capability. I think in our experience, once we demonstrate that something is safe enough or significantly safer than human, we find that regulators are supportive of deployment of that capability. It's difficult to argue with if you've got a large number of the self-driving capabilities that are deployed outside of North America are far behind that in North America. So with version 12.5 and maybe a 12.6, but pretty soon we will ask for regulatory approval of the Tesla supervised FSD in Europe, China, and other countries. And I think we're likely to receive that before the end of the year.
Thank you.
Which will be a helpful demand driver in those regions, obviously.
Thank you.
Just the vehicles are governed by FMVSS in the US, which is NHTSA, which is the same across all 50 states. The road rules are the same across all 50 states. So creating a generalized solution gives us the best opportunity to deploy in all 50 states reasonably. Of course, there are state and even local municipal level regulations that may apply to, being a transportation company or deploying taxis. But, as far as getting the vehicle on the road, that's all federal, and that's very much in line with what Elon was just suggesting about the data and the vehicle itself.
And to add to the technology point, the end-to-end network basically makes no assumption about the location. Like you could add data from different countries and it would just perform equally well there. There's almost close to zero US specific code in there. It's all just the data that comes from US.
Yeah, to that end, Ashok, it's we can go as humans to other countries and drive with some reasonable amount of assessment in those countries. And that's how you design the FSD software.
As its own video as well.
Great, thanks guys. The next question comes from George from Canaccord. George, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking my questions. Maybe just to expand on the regulatory question for a second, and I could be comparing apples and oranges, but GM canceled their pedalless, wheelless vehicle, and according to the company this morning, their decision was driven by uncertainty about the regulatory environment. And from what we understand, and again, maybe I'm wrong here, but the robo-taxi that has been shown, at least in the images of the public, is also pedalless and wheelless. Is there a different regulatory concern just if you deploy a vehicle like that doesn't have pedals or a wheel, and that be different from just regular FSD on a traditional Tesla vehicle? Thank you.
Well, obviously, the real reason that they canceled it is because GM can't make it work, not because of regulators. They're blaming regulators. That's misleading of them to do so, because Waymo is doing just fine in those markets. So it's just that their technology is not up to par.
Right. And maybe just as a follow-up, I think you mentioned that FSD take rates were up materially after you reduced the price. Is there any way you can help us quantify what that means exactly? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we've shared we've seen a meaningful increase. I don't want to get into specific because we started from a low base, but we are seeing encouraging results. And the key thing here is, like Elon said, you need to experience it, because words can't describe it till the time we actually use it. And that's why we are trying to make sure that every time a car is getting delivered, people are being showed how this thing is working, because when you see it working, you realize how great it is. I mean, just to give you one example, so again, there's a biased example, but I have a more than 20-mile commute into the factory almost every day. I have 0 interventions on the latest stack, and the car just literally drives me over. And especially with the latest version, wherein we're also tracking your eye movement, the steering wheel nag is almost not there, as long as you're not wearing.
Thank you for joining. Smash the like on the way in.
Coming soon. So you will be able to drive. You'll be able to have sunglasses on and have the car drive.
Yeah.
But there's a fair number of times I've talked with smart people who live in New York or maybe downtown Boston and don't ever drive, and then are asking me about FSD. I'm like, you can just get a car and try it. If you're not doing that, you have no idea what's going on.
Thank you. The next question comes from Pierre from New Street. Pierre, please unmute yourself.
Hey guys, thank you for taking my question. So it's on robotaxi again, and I completely get it that with a universal solution, we will get like regulatory approval. We get there eventually, clicking up miles and compute, etc. And my question is more, how you think about deployments? Because I'm thinking once you have a car that can drive everywhere, that can replace me, it can replace a taxi. But then to do the ride-hailing service, you need a certain scale. And that means a lot of cars on the road. And so you need an infrastructure to just maintain the cars, take care of them, etc. And so my question is, are you already working on that? Do you have already an idea of what your plan to deploy looks like? And is that like a Tesla only plan, or are you looking at partners, local partners, global partners to do that? And I'll have a quick follow-up.
Yeah, this would just be the Tesla network. You just literally open the Tesla app and summon a car, and we send a car to pick you up and take you somewhere. We'll have a fleet that's, I don't know, on the order of 7 million that are capable of autonomy soon. In the years to come, it'll be over 10 million, then over 20 million. This is immense scale. And the car is able to operate 24/7, unlike the human driver. So the capability to, like, if there's this basically instant scale with a software update. And now this is for a customer-owned fleet. So you can think of that as being a bit like Airbnb. Like, you can choose to allow your car to be used by the fleet, or cancel that and bring it back. It can be used by the fleet all the time. It can be used by the fleet some of the time, and then Tesla would share in the revenue with the customer. But you can think of the giant fleet of Tesla vehicles as like the giant sort of Airbnb equivalent fleet, Airbnb on wheels. Then, in addition, we would make some number of cars for Tesla that would just be owned by Tesla and be added to the fleet. I guess that would be a bit more like Uber. But this would all be the Tesla network. And there's an important clause we've put in every Tesla purchase, which is that the Tesla vehicles can only be used in the Tesla fleet. They cannot be used by a third party for autonomy.
Okay. And do you think that scales like progressively, so you can start in a city with just a handful of cars and you grow the number of cars over time, or do you think there is like a critical mass you need to get to be able to offer like a service that is of competitive quality compared to what like Uber would be typically delivering already?
I guess maybe I'm not conveying this correctly. The entire Tesla fleet basically becomes active. This is obviously, maybe there's some number of people who don't want their car to earn money, but I think most people will. It's instant scale.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Colin from Oppenheimer. Colin, please unmute yourself.
Sorry about that, guys. I've got two questions around energy storage. With the tight supply and the stationary storage, can you talk about your pricing strategy and how you're thinking about saturation in given geographies, given that some of these larger systems are starting to shift wholesale power markets in a pretty meaningful way quickly?
So we are working with a large set of players in the market, and our pipeline is actually pretty long, and there's actually a long end in terms of where you enter into a contract to where delivery starts happening. And so far we have good pricing leverage, and I'll have Mike chime in on this too.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition from Chinese OEMs, just like there is in the vehicle space. So we're in close contact with our customers and making sure that we're remaining competitive in where they're needing to be competitive to secure contracts to sell power and energy in the markets. We had a really strong contracting quarter and continue to build our backlog for 2025 and 2026. So we feel pretty good about where we are in the market. We realize that competition is strong, but we have a pretty strong value proposition with offering a fully integrated product with our own power electronics and site level controls. So
yeah, and again, the aspect which people do not fully understand is that there's also a whole software stack which comes with our Megapack.
Right.
And that is a unique proposition which we have, which is only available to us, and we're using it with other stuff too. But that gives us a much more of an edge as compared to the competition.
Yeah, we find customers that they can sort of put together a hodgepodge solution, and then sometimes they'll pick that solution, and then that doesn't work, and then they come back to us.
Yeah, and we're not really seeing saturation on a global scale. There's little pockets of saturation in different markets, but we're more seeing that there's markets opening up given demand on the grid just continues to increase more than anyone expects. So that just opens up markets, really across the world in different pockets.
Yeah, just even on the AI compute side, right? These GPUs are really power hungry, and the amount of new pipeline which we're getting for people for data center backup and things like that is increasing at a pretty large scale.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. And then the follow-up here is around the 4680 process technology, and the roll-to-roll process. There's some news around your equipment suppliers. Can you talk about how far along you are in potentially qualifying an incremental supplier around some of those critical process technology steps?
Yeah, I can talk about that. As you're probably referring to the lawsuit that we have with one of our suppliers. Look, I don't think this is going to affect our ability to roll out 4680. We have very strong IP position in the technology, and the majority of the equipment that we use is in-house designed, and some of it's in-house built. And so we can take our IP stack and have someone else build it if we need to. So that's not really a concern right now.
Yeah, I think people don't understand just how much demand there will be for grid storage. They really just, like, the people, I think, are underestimating this demand by probably orders of magnitude. So that the actual total energy output of, say, the US grid is, if the power plants can operate at steady state, is at least 2 to 3 times the amount of energy it currently produces. Because there are huge gaps. There's a huge difference in the from peak to trough in terms of energy or power generation. So in order for a grid to not have blackouts, it must be able to support the load at the worst minute of the worst day of the year, the coldest or hottest day, which means that for the rest of the time, the rest of the year, it's got massive excess power generation capability, but it has no way to store that energy. Once you add battery packs, you can now run the power plants at steady state. Steady state means that basically any given grid anywhere in the world can produce, in terms of cumulative energy in the course of a year, at least twice what it is currently producing. In some cases, maybe 3 times.
All right, thank you.
This is a very profound thing.
Great. Thank you, Elon. The next question comes from Colin Langan from Wells Fargo. Colin, please unmute yourself.
Oh, great. Thanks for taking my questions. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. Sorry. I guess we're going to ask, if Trump wins, there's a higher chance that IRA could get cut. I think, Elon, you had commented online that Tesla doesn't survive on EV subsidies. But wouldn't Tesla lose a lot of support if IRA goes away? I think Model 3 and Y get IRA help for customers, and I think your batteries get production tax credits. So just can you clarify if IRA ends, would it be a negative for your profitability in the near term? Why might it not be a negative? And then, any framing of the current, support you get IRA related.
I guess that there would be some impact, but I think it would be devastating for our competitors, and it would hurt Tesla slightly. But long term, probably actually helps Tesla. That would be my guess. Yeah. But and I've said this before on these calls. The value of Tesla overwhelmingly is autonomy. These other things are in the noise relative to autonomy. So I recommend anyone who doesn't believe that Tesla will solve vehicle autonomy should not hold Tesla stock. They should sell their Tesla stock. If you believe Tesla will solve autonomy, you should buy Tesla stock. And all these other questions are in the noise.
Yeah, I'll add this just to clarify a few things, that at the end of the day, when we are looking at our business, we've always been looking at it whether or not IRA is there. And we want our business to grow healthy without having any subsidies coming in, whichever way you look at it. And that's the way we have always modeled everything. And that is the way internally also, even when we're looking at battery costs, yes, there are manufacturing credits which we get, but we always drive ourselves to say, okay, what if there's no IRA benefit? And how do we operate in that kind of an environment? And like Elon said, we definitely have a big advantage as compared to our competition on that front. We've delivered it, and you can see it in the numbers over the years. So there is, you cannot ignore the fundamental sides of the business. And then on top of it, once you add autonomy to it, like Elon said, it becomes meaningless to even think about the short term.
Okay. I think that's unfortunately all the time we have for today. We appreciate all of your questions. We look forward to talking to you next quarter. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Thanks, man.
And there it is. That is the Tesla financial results Q2 2024 earnings report. So thank you for joining me in that. Throughout that earnings call, we saw the price of Tesla plummet. We are down 7%, and I expect it to go down a further 6-7%. So let me know your thoughts on that earnings call. I certainly didn't find it boring, despite what some people think. No, at parts it's hard to grasp, so you have to listen in very, very carefully. But as someone was saying, I think it was Andrew, he was bored as well. The questions I like to hear are these ones. The ones from say, what's the status of the Roadster? When do you expect the first robotaxi ride? What's your opinion on the status of 680 battery cells production? How is the ramp up progressing? Any update on Dojo? What accessories will be offered on Optimus? Do you feel like you're cheating people out of the joys of owning a Tesla by not advertising? Very quick, fun, useful questions that I think investors want to know the answers to. I'd rather they just continued going through these. What are Tesla's two biggest priorities for the next 5 years? We didn't even get onto these questions. Will Rotaxi be available for individual customer ownerships as a profit-generating venture? And would Tesla roll this out immediately, or would Tesla own the vehicles first? Elon, do you believe Trump's / Vance admit will support Tesla and EVs? How confident are you based on your conversations? These are the questions that I wanted them to continue going on about, not just the analyst questions. So that's what I preferred. I would also like to see their faces, as James has mentioned. But my thoughts are Tesla's got further to go. James asked, do I think go to 200? Maybe, but let's go level by level. I don't want to give random predictions for the end of year. Doesn't matter when, but I think 208 is it's very possible this year. Going below that, we'll have to see how it reacts at 208. We also had a question that I said I'll answer about TVL. Let me see if I can find it. Who asked the question? I had a question for a different chart that I said I'll answer. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, TPL. Texas Pacific Land Corporation. Of course, this is he's keeping most of the production in Texas. We've looked at this company before. The question was, do I think that TPL is going to hit 660 buy zone, which I've put there. Thank you for remembering that. Like you stated on Sunday's review, or with the elections coming, could we see it stay above 700 range? It went from 800 range to 400 in 2023. Let's have a look at the longer time frames, and I can give you an answer. Yeah, we've seen it at these levels before, and it came back down. Yeah, it'll be interesting. We can maybe head higher and put in a double top, or well, it's hard to say. Will it go to 660 before it, or could we stay above the 700 range? we just don't have enough data. Like, I would have a buy zone set up at 660, but it's not guaranteed we're going to go to 660. This uptrend is fairly established. But there's I wouldn't be buying it now, and I wouldn't be selling now. My sell level will be the all-time highs at 915. My first sell level, my main sell level would be between 1.2 and 1.3, and my top-up zone, or my first buy zone, would be at 660. I can't say if it's going to go to one zone before the next. I just think we're in the middle of no man's land, so you have to have a trade on both sides, selling at 915 and buying at 660. Again, not financial advice. You do what you like with that information, but unfortunately I can't fully answer your question, but I can reiterate my thoughts of 660 being the next buy zone, 915 being some resistance at all-time highs, my main sell zone between 1.2 and 1.3 thousand. But yeah, back to Tesla. It was an interesting earnings call. Nothing great. He didn't mention the stock price going up. But it looks like they're set up well for their next earnings, so it might be nice to pick up some shares at 208. Let's see your final questions and bring this show to a close. Let's turn that down. Let's see these questions before we end the show. Do hit the like button if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate that if you hit the like button. Let's see how many likes we have. If we refresh this, we can see that, and then we'll answer your final questions for tonight. And it's coming up to midnight in the UK. We've got 13 people watching, 28 likes. I love to see it. Join us for any in the morning. I like the earnings call, but I wish there was a video call. Stay here will automatically take you to the morning show, so do look out for the NEE earnings that Martyn will be covering in the morning. I like seeing Elon talk. I think that at least keeps it a bit more entertaining. But good to give you a front row seat. That's the link for tomorrow morning. Go in there, leave a comment, press the like button, and press the notification bell so you get notified of that. Don't forget your cups of tea for the morning show, Martyn. I'm not as half as intelligent as you at Sensei Crypto, so what do I know? Andrew, what do I know as well? You can't trust anyone. Don't trust me. I'm not here to give you financial advice either. I think all of us bouncing ideas off each other, giving our thoughts and opinions is the best we can do. Okay, thank you for the info and thanks for taking the time, Sensei. No worries. Thank you for the live show, Sensei. It's much appreciated. What's your next buy sell level on TPET? Let's have a quick look. TPET. Oh, we've already done this. You must have. Next buy level was about 8 cents. Sell zones are 29 cents, 37 cents, and 50 cents, and 73 cents. If you want to look at the chart, there it is. You can take a quick screenshot of that, or rewind it. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong screen. Here we go. Thanks, Sensei, Sense Team Fusion. Thank you for tuning in. Martyn, thank you also for your live show. It's much appreciated. Thank you, says Andrew Michael. Amazing. Well, that has come to the end of the show. We have done the earnings. I watched your last video on Sunday. Thank you, David. Bouncing ideas of each other. I love it, says Vaz. Yes, I love it too. Until next time, take care of yourselves, your money, and each other. Bye bye.